one and shoot. Welcome to SOF Week 2026. We're here with Eric Horan, general partner, co-founder here at Decisive Point, a venture capital firm. One of the very few, I would say, in the industry that's built a track record, which we'll get into here a little bit, but I'm actually facing one of the portfolio companies that they've incubated, and Eric is a US Navy veteran. I'll let him get into that, but Eric, pleasure.
Thank you very much, So not a Navy veteran, civilian supporting the Navy, but spent 10 years at NAVSEA buying major weapon systems, so was a contracting officer negotiating for ships, missile systems, all the big platforms. Gave me a really deep insight into how the big primes use the system to their advantage. Also saw that we needed more competition in those big programs, so I took my knowledge, my expertise, and brought it to very small companies that had great technology, but not necessarily a full business development team that can go out and capture contracts and then transition to scale. So we have about 40 companies we've invested in through 2 funds, and they're doing great. We really like things they're building and bring a lot of value to the warfighter. That's
wonderful, Eric. And we were just talking before we started rolling, and there's a lot of capital out there in the US capital markets. Venture is obviously a domain in itself, and then defense contracting and investing in defense tech is a very unique subdomain in itself that's even more challenging. With Eric's background, hopefully we can unpack that just briefly a little bit for our viewers back home so they can understand that. Obviously a lot of people want to support the United States of America, the Department of War. The new economic defense unit obviously looks like it's going to have a lot of capital. SOFWorks, the venture kind of ecosystem here, as well as SOF Ventures, right? So you've got that whole ecosystem. Can you kind of give us a sense of state of affairs today and the challenges and opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started 8 years ago, we were called pretty foolish for trying to invest in defense tech. It was not an investable industry at that point. Obviously that's changed dramatically. The past 8 years you've seen big funds like A16Z, Founders Fund, all these very large funds coming in and playing in the space, which is great. For us, we like to get into companies when they're really young and small. Our fund size is much lower than an A16Z, but we're able to place strategic bets and then really work directly with the team to win that first contract, but more importantly for those that we do see a place downrange and helping the warfighter, we can really help them scale and transition to those long-term programs of record. So we hold a large portfolio of companies that are trying to do that. The top 5 or 10% will reach that sort of pinnacle, and we help them get there.
Yeah, I guess the latest breaking news is the fact that the supply chain and contracting process is, the discussion is in a state of reform today.
It's always in a state of reform, yeah.
And we've heard some bold statements out of the department. What's your sense, and not to get into the weeds too far as crossing lines, but we'd love to get a sense of positive outcomes that you've seen so far.
Yeah, for sure. So 8 years ago, the Air Force, I think, really led out with AFWorks. I'm sure you've heard of them, but they really changed the game in terms of opening the playing field for new entrants. They cut down the contracting time. They opened up the scope of technologies. They said, we don't know what's out there, but give us your hypotheses, how this technology helps the warfighter, which has been great. After that, you see a lot of companies that are prototyping and delivering things. The government's been really good at understanding they need to buy product and then iterate with the company. Instead of these 5-10-year R&D cycles with big primes that really are just cost plus sort of exercises that suck money and don't do much else. A good example is drone dominance, which just came out of the DOW. It's $1 billion, 2 years, 4 stages. They're buying product and iterating up capability, driving down price. So that's a great example of just somewhere like the venture capital industry loves, where like you're buying product, you're improving it, but you're also coming down a cost curve. So things like that are great for us to see. We love that. So anytime a program wants to buy quickly and iterate and prove you can scale is great.
Now, has that been earmarked by the Department of War and its pipeline development group to be a test case? Is that unique in a sense?
Yeah, drone dominance was birthed out of a special unit in the DOW, working directly under Emil Michael and some others. It's a very novel sort of acquisition strategy and plan, but I think the results are going to speak for themselves. So they're bringing companies down to live test during different vignettes and things like that to prove capability, and then funding them pretty much on the spot. So instead of, you go to a test, you get some demand signals, and you might have a contract in 6 to 12 months. No, you come down, you prove your capability. If you're in the top 10 out of 30, you get a contract and you deliver. So it's very good for folks like us that need to see these companies get traction, validate things, and then just keep improving. Another good one too is like Swarm Forge and others, but we
got it. Yeah, no,
probably too deep for this.
Yeah, no, that's great that there's multiple, and Decisive Point is tracking those, and it's interesting to hear that there's going to be an increase in budget at the Department of War. Obviously, for the early stage capital that needs to kind of seed those investments, Decisive Point's there. It's interesting how that'll all marry up in the next few years.
Yeah,
and that's certainly an opportunity for capital partners to get more involved. You said you've raised 2 funds, and now you're getting ready, I guess, going out for a third, or?
Yep, yeah, we'll look to raise our 3rd fund somewhere next year. We're about halfway deployed out of Fund 2, so still some dry powder there. And yeah, we're still seeing great deals. I think there's been a lot of investors that are very interested in getting in the market. You've seen, obviously, Anduril, SpaceX, the big high flyer names, good proof points, but they had some advantages that others don't. When you start Anduril with a billionaire and a great team at Founders Fund, like, they have a leg up. But yeah, there's a lot of interest in the space, and we're excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of that technology. Hi, ma'am. Come on in. No, well, you can go ahead this way or that way, or. All right, thanks. So, with the seeding of these new technologies, I mean, are you seeing that pipeline still being pretty robust?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more competition for deals now, right? Like, there are dozens of VCs that are investing in defense tech, so you have to prove your value, which I think is great. We give smallish checks, $1 million to $3 million bucks, but we provided a whole team of folks that have been in the acquisition system forever. So we're really, hands-on for companies that need that or want that. We don't need to be, but if we need to, we will. So yeah, we spend a lot of time with our companies to really help them, like, with the tactical blocking and tackling of winning defense contracts.
Got it. And as far as total AUM right now, is that public?
Yeah, I'd give you like some round numbers.
Okay.
I mean, it's around 200.
200. And you're looking at the next fund probably being in that range, or?
Yeah, about 100-ish.
Okay.
Somewhere there. Yeah, we started.
If anybody from the LP world wants to get in touch, or investors that are accredited, I would assume you're primarily dealing with accredited investors.
Yeah, we are all stateside investors, all patriotic capital. So yeah, I mean, if there's anyone that wants to get involved, you can look at our website, contact me. We'd love to have people come on board.
Great. Yeah, that's Decisive Point. I'm here with Eric Horan. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
It was great to talk.
Appreciate it, Kyle.
Pleasure.
Thank you.